very humbled with the kind of introduction ma'am gave for me, and I hope you guys are doing fine. The center looks really lovely. It's really like in the lap of nature, and I think it provides a lot to you guys as inspiration, source of inspiration to do a lot with whatever you guys are learning right now, like in terms of the stream that you belongs to. And though because I represent a particular stream of design, after a few years it expands and kind of touches every sorts of design activity. But in case whatever I speak is a bit partial towards graphic design and branding, let me know whatever you guys want to ask me, maybe in a question and answer session after the points that I have to share with you. Yeah? Hi everyone, and it's a question that, like, it's not really a question, but it's a statement that I want to throw it to you guys. I hope you are doing well, and from that question itself I want to draw your attention towards what I do or what we do as a graphic design team or a branding team. So that's actually the question that I asked every brand that I have worked for. I hope you are doing well. Now, if I want to break this statement into parts, how I go about it is that I is me or the team. That defines and bring the uniqueness, like, what is the experience, what are the tools that we are using, how are the perspectives that we are throwing at different brands. So that's the I part of it. Then I go to the hope. So hope is a funny word, like, it's not really a wish, it's not just a blank wish, it's a hope that there will be something positive that is going to happen to the brand that you are working for, but you can't really leave it to the luck also, or the market forces, or how the market reacts, or how the competitors react, or how the end customer reacts. So there is a lot of commitment that goes into it. So the commitment is something that bestowed with that wish makes it the hope that we have for all the brands that we work for. And then comes you. So you is the client. Now, it's very important why I structured it like this, especially from the you point of view, because at this stage where you guys are right now, where you are slowly gaining knowledge about a field, and that happens, like, that happens to my 5-year-old kid also, because when she learns new things, after that 2 months she tries to act like she knows it all, right? And then after 4 months you will see that she's again a little worried that she doesn't know a lot, and then she learns new things, and then again for the next 2 months she'll behave like she knows it all. So this is going to be that time for you guys. All of you are in 7th semester, right? That you know a lot new things than what you were aware of when you came to NIFT. But at the same time, maybe you do not know everything. And obviously, nobody knows everything, right? So, at this point, when you, with your skills and creativities and the art or whatever that you guys were carrying with yourself, when you came to the college, it has got a new lamination to it, right? It has got certified now. So you might think that the client doesn't know it. That client is not creative. The client is not being able to understand or enforce or apply anything to your thought process. But I feel that's wrong. Clients always have something or the other to give to you. They might not be as creative as you, but they are always imaginative. And imagination is something that comes with experience, like, because they have a product, they have a brand, they have a company which they are running. In case of brands that is been running for some time. There are new brands also which come up in the course of action when you are working on it. And what happens that with that knowledge and experience they can bring in a lot of information and lot of curious questions towards you, and at that point it should be think through, not just create this wall that that person doesn't know, I know. So it's very important for us to receive them as the people who are representing the market, and to take the ideas, maybe make it mold as per your creativity, your understanding, and then bring it back to them. And then comes the doing well part. Now that's the whole idea, you can bring in all the 5 P's of marketing, you can bring in all the skills, all the experience, everything, and something that is additional, that is always important, which is the gut feeling. And as I go on to each section with examples, I will also share that how a gut feeling has changed the way we look a particular kind of brand. So till now, if there is any point that anybody wants to question or ask me about, let me know, or I'll just move forward. Anybody have any questions on these? Okay, I'll move forward. I think by the end of it, all of them will wake up properly, and I think they will be more engaged and more into it. So first I talk about I. So I is partially me, myself, and partially the team, right? So when I talk about, I think Mr. Ashish has a question. Please go ahead, sir.
Sir has paid a very valuable time to us, and sir is an esteemed guest and holding prominent places in India. So it's very tough that you will get that benefit again in the future. You are entering into a cruel world after 15 days. For 15 December, nobody is there to welcome you. So try to be ready in that scenario. Learn things, professional traits required at that point of time. What are the negotiations? What are the trends? Those who are shaping the fashion industry in the future. Talk to sir. Sir will give you a real review that what kind of traits you need to take care of in the future. तो आपके मन में जो भी बातें हैं 15 दिसंबर के बाद सिनेरियो चेंज होने वाला है, इसलिए रेडी होने के लिए whatever you want to ask, this is the place to ask. Please ask question to sir. It's not a one-sided type of session. It should be more and more interactive. Whatever question comes in your mind, sir, what to do at day 1, how to plan my day, what kind of etiquettes, ethics I should have while handling the directors of the company, while negotiating with the customers, what are the trends those who are helping me out, where are the sourcing hubs, what is trends and forecasting, what is coming in your mind, just please ask. There should be no one-sided kind of interaction. I want to say that. Okay? Please raise your hand and be interactive.
And feel free, this is, let's say that, we are having an adda. So everybody is sitting, probably I know a little more than you guys, and you guys can throw whatever question comes to your mind. Do not judge your question before putting it across. Because then you will stay there with your questions. So don't judge your question. And just to add to what Ashish just mentioned, that it's a framework that you make when you go out. It's a cruel world, harsh world, sometimes nice world. Everything is there, out there. But whether you are a soft core and hard shell, or a hardcore or a soft shell, that you need to decide, or you need to even change, because chameleons are also adaptive. So that adaptive nature is very important. So I'll just go back to where I was, and whenever there is anything you guys can ask, or we can have a session at the end or after every section. So there are 4 sections, so we can just do that. So the first part where I'm explaining the I. So I is me, myself, and also the team. So every work that happens with the team. But what I have done, I have divided into 2 parts, my personal life and my professional life. And what I understand that, they are not very different from each other. They are often mingling with each other, and that is where I draw my inspiration from. That is where I get ideas from. If I am doing something in my personal life, that really gives me a lot of idea for the professional part. And I am not saying everybody should follow that, but here is a insight that I am sharing, that if I always keep studying graphic design to do graphic design, I'll get bored. I need to not get bored and yet eat a lot. Because I need to eat a lot, because I need to sort of produce it back for years to come. At least for that period of time, until and unless I really catch the acceleration in what I am doing, and after that it will carry itself, right? So, what do I do personally that keeps me engaged? I write a lot of thoughts and I do post them also. Sometimes I post, sometimes I don't post, because they just remain in one particular file in my system. I do a lot of gardening. I spend time growing vegetables. I spend time with that. My Saturdays and Sundays are not something where I take calls. My Saturdays and Sundays belong to me and what I like to do. I also like to cook a lot, because again what I said, when you do something else, it gives you idea about what you actually do. Because if you are a designer, whether you are a brand designer, whether you are a leather designer, whether you are a fashion designer, I believe, and this is how it should be, that it's always there in your mind. It's never that you forget that what you do. You know that. But to give armors to those things that what you do, to add skills to those things that you do, you need to connect a lot of things that you are doing in not graphic design activity, and yet connect to your work. Like a simple way, if I'm cooking and I know that an onion needs to be chopped in a particular way for if I'm making a fish, or an onion needs to be chopped in a different way if I'm making paneer. So, if you are using a font for doing a logo, you need to design, maybe take the bolder version or the bolder weight of that font for a particular brand. But maybe you will be using an italic version of the same font for a different brand, right? So you just, in a very funny sort of manner, you keep connecting things to your own knowledge bank. I like to draw a lot, so I do painting. I spend my time doing paintings, and how it helps me, that it helps me back in my work, because a lot of projects directly comes because I can paint, like an art of motorcycling or various projects with Royal Enfield and Samsung that we do are purely based on the ability of making art. Nature, biodiversity, these are something that really inspires me. So I create my projects through that. Like, even if, let's say, the whole market is not ready to give me a project on that, if I can draw, and if I like to draw and spend time, why don't I draw something towards that side, right? And with the whole idea of biodiversity, I made that tiger face that you can see, and we can't zoom into this right now, but you can go and check that maybe in the page. And it's made out of, one side it has all water, marine animal, the other side it has the birds, and in the center it has all the animals to do with land. And it talks about biodiversity, how each animal is related to the other one, and whether they are eating it, they should eat the other animal or not, and not getting into those sort of questions, and understanding the balance that the nature provides us, right? And how nature sees it. And once I made that, and then it was seen by WWF, and then they liked that, and then they, want to get a print of it. There is installation that I do. I've done 3 till now, and they are also there. While doing this art of Ram and Krishna on the other side, I realized that everybody sees these gods also in a very different way. So after selling a couple of prints, I realized that just selling a print is making me a shopkeeper here. So I should not do that. And what I did, that the base drawing is done by me. So I took a print of it, and every time somebody wants a copy of it, I paint the surrounding or the inner side every time in a fresh way, in a fresh manner. And every time I'm drawing it, it gives me a different perception of that scene, different perception of that moment that I'm trying to represent through those drawings. Now I come to the professional me. So since later in the presentation there are examples of projects, like visuals of projects that we have done. In this particular slide, I have just put 44 logos that were done by us. Plus there are 200 more. But these are the 44 that I have just kept. They are the top, like the initial ones. So the whole team is a part of this. It can't be done by one single person. And what it does, that it gives a confidence to the client that whatever kind of business it is, whatever way they want to propagate or they want to market themselves, we might have an example of that close to that. The other thing that I really feel happy about, I would say, happy is a modest word, I would use that, and is that I don't like to use just a font, type it, and that's your logo. I'm trying to see how do we put this. Like 10 years back, I guess, this whole fashion came, or this trend came, that where logos has to be simple, that the phrase came. And yeah, of course it has to be simple, but that doesn't mean that you don't work on it. And that should not make you lazy, because what happens when you take just a font and just type it and you hand it over to the client, after some time what they do, they start typing it themselves, so the spacing is gone, and then they start using the same font for the communication also, so the value of the logo is also gone. I'll give you an example, and I don't think anybody will do a case against you, that Uber had a really good logo type, I feel. It felt Uber. Now what I see doesn't feel Uber. It seems like it's Ola's brother, right? It has a small letter U which has great ascenders, and then BER is just imbalanced. So the whole idea of just using a font and typing it never gives me that satisfaction. And satisfaction is something that I really want from the work. And that's the reason we always try to design a logo type. Sometimes we take a base font, sometimes we do not take a base font, but the logo types are always indigenously done, so that there is no other logo type just like that. I draw a lot of happiness while doing the font designs. The fonts are very important for me, and I kind of get a lot of support from the art background that I have, because it helps me visualize, do things like UNESCO, MGIP. Just, it's not that in my plan to talk about it, but I just saw it very close. And you know how the charkha kind of wraps around the line of P, and then it kind of goes with E, and it kind of makes it very, very complete. It's a branch of UNESCO. I really like the bird in Sugam, because Sugam is a courier company, and it's one of the oldest courier company like Gati and all. And since they do the most amount of business in Northeast, because Northeast is a section that most courier companies says कि 2 दिन ज़्यादा लगेंगे, but for them it doesn't. So the bird is actually flying towards the northeast side of the leg space, you know. So like that, there are many stories that sometime we can talk about. And since there are just 44 years, we should move to the next one. So this is that hope part, where it's always a wish, but guarded by the commitment that we bring into the table, and this commitment is again supported by the experience, the understanding, the imagination that we have for the brands that we are working for, or the experience that we have gained over a period. But I feel that commitment is something is very important, and I feel helpless, like almost like कि एक बार मैंने commitment कर दी तो मैं अपनी भी नहीं सुनता. It's like it goes to that extent that once I have started talking to the brand, I have started internalizing the ideas in my mind, and I have started thinking about the ideas. I start engaging into deeper arguments with my clients to understand or make them understand, or in the process trying to understand that what is that we are planning to do, how should we do it. So that itself, like because everything else can be there, commitment has to come from within. Now if that comes, even the client understands. Like I remember the first meeting that we had. So we did a restaurant very like last year only. It was very close to my heart. It's called Coca, and it belongs to Yuvraj Singh. Now when we did the logo and a few versions of it were submitted, the rest of the teams liked something that is very easily be taken forward as a restaurant logo. But when UV came and he wanted to select the one that he likes, is not the one that people went with. He went with the one that he liked. Now he asked me like, what do you think about it? And to that, when I shared my points that this is how it can be taken ahead, it can't. The point that he mentioned to his team that time, that he is not afraid of taking the risk of going with this one. He wants to take ahead this one because he feels that we will go international very soon. So all this is keeping that in mind. So let him take that risk. And I'm very happy that how the restaurant is performing right now, how the food business is going. So anyways, I'll give you examples, more solid examples about it. So 3 years back, so the background is that I like to do design and I like to do art. 3 years back, and both of them, they are my clients already. Like UNESCO is also a client. I've been working with them for some projects, and Royal Enfield is also being a client, and we are working for. But they don't know that I work for both of them. But it happened that they wanted to do a project together, and they approached me for this one. And since I like to do both design and art, this project came as a dream project because they wanted me to brand this whole social project that they are coming up with. And at the same time, for the launch, they wanted me to do an art installation to present the same form, And for that, the whole idea that they kind of came up with, that I might have to paint 15 helmets and 6 or 8, I think, tanks and 1 bullet fully. And for that, the request was simple. You have 5 days, sir. If you can do it, let's do it. Now it's a dream project, and it just gives me 5 days. So easier is to say no or feel shy about it or feel lazy about it and let it be. But I really thought that this is going to go ahead, and I should really put all my energies to it. And we ended up doing that. And we ended up not just painting those helmets and tanks and the Enfield in total. We also tried to give a theme to this installation, and we called it the Winds of Change. and we kind of place them in a way that, you know, it looks like that the front whole bike is going, and it's followed by these floating tanks and the floating helmets, almost looking like the motion blur that has removed the riders from the scene, and the helmets and the tanks and the machine is visible. And at the same time, we also did the design for it, the branding for it, and the branding came out nice, like whatever amount of commitment or focus that I try to put in any work, that is the amount of the same thing has been done for this one also. But the best part was that this project was planned for a year, and now this project is entering 4th year, and the effect of this project is such that, you know, from the whole Himalayan belt, whether it's being the northeast side of it or the Himachal side of it, they are coming up with newer crafts application in the field of automobile, and they are backed by UNESCO and Royal Enfield both. They share intangibles like everything from music to food to their daily routine, like, you know, how it's not that, you know, a rider just goes there, spend time and goes ahead. He is a changed rider. He experiences lot more than just being a passing passerby, you know. He is carrying that culture now with him. And it's going so well that that's the reason that it has entered the 4th year of the project. Which is why I have put it in this hope section. A rare project that expanded the same way for us as the project itself. Next one is the Bajaj Auto. So it started with the whole idea of a global branding, but then turned into a 360-degree communication design also. Now, what's the basic thing we did is that, you know, we studied the logo, which we were not supposed to touch. So we didn't touch the logo, but we moved the logo around. We moved the logo in different kind of materials, and when we moved them on sand or snow or muddy track, we see these 3 lines are getting created. A fatter line is getting created from this part, and the thinner lines are getting created by this part, and which has kind of, you know, given the brand language. And after that, to be honest, the journey was not too difficult to do the global branding for them. And then, because we created the system very easily, from that thing itself, the patterns came into being. The project is still not uploaded in the website. Very soon it will be, and then you guys can have a look at it. And then, of course, then we went into the designing of showrooms to designing their communication as well. Now, talking about the client, I will share maybe a couple of projects here also, and will give emphasis to what the client's perception was, what the client's idea of the project was, and how keen they kind of, you know, into it, how imaginative they are actually to kind of, you know, put it across. So first example is Lenskart, Aqualens. I'll put both of them because I really feel that, you know, Piyush has a very keen eye towards the project that he is doing. He holds it very close to his heart. So that's the reason, again, like, you know, it's a commitment from his side. That's the reason that, you know, so many ideas come so easily to him. And when we started the Lenskart project, and it started just with the packaging and the branding for online retail. And the only thing that he had that time was the logo, the multicolored logo. So for branding, anything that has to come out from that logo itself and nothing else. So what we did, we disintegrated the whole gradient into many colors, and then we introduced colors in the gradient to bring a brand language. And since the whole idea of infinity, the form of the logo that they have, it says that infinite number of fashions or frames. We made a system where, like, if you see, the glasses would keep changing, and the one that has an underline, it comes on the face of the model. So I think this exercise gave him enough confidence to work with us for the other brands that he have, whether it's the blue or the Aqualens. And when he started Aqualens, he really, like, was so passionate to get a person from Bosch and Long who has an experience of those many number of years. But when we just started the branding project, his question was like, can't we use a fish? Now, if somebody, a client out of the blue says that, you will feel like he doesn't know anything. Why use a fish, right? But then, if you see, like, I don't know whether everybody of you has seen fishes so up close or so regularly. They have that eye, they have the eye that looks like a lens itself. And ये कहावत भी है ना कि बंगालियों की आंखें तेज होती है क्योंकि मछली खाते हैं. So there are different kind of connotations that can be bring into play, and we really use the fish to, like, to emphasize the like, use it as a brand carrier, and it worked for us. It kind of helped us to create different segmentations of the brand also, and that's how it went. So, like, clients are always not wrong and they can't always be right also, but it's always important to listen and think through and then decide. Like, it's very important to give that space to them and their knowledge and their experience. So blue is rather simpler because it's more the physical aspect of optics, that when a ray goes, it kind of reflects. So the whole idea of blue glasses are the glasses that you wear while you are using a smartphone or any digital equipment. It kind of reflects the blue light from the eyes, so that whole reflection can be seen. I wouldn't have drawn a bee like that. So all these fonts are like, they are all hand drawn. So like, they are not a font P. So you will not see a P which looks like a 3 in general. But that twist we needed to do because to show that reflection of rays.
You've talked about how you bring a creative edge or a zing to the corporate structure. And companies generally aren't open to this, they're a little bit scared. At least with the limited experience that we've had going to an internship. What would you say if, say that your USP, in this case, like you said, was painting. Say different people have different USPs. Should we try to inculcate a USP, whatever the case is? Should we always try to, tell them that we can look at it through a different angle, we can look at it through a creative edge, bring a different effect?
So you asked about the USP, right? I think the USP that we have is something that we will get to know in some time. You might not be aware of your actual USP at this point, but the way you put out the question to me, which was neither yes or no, but you wanted to express yourself, and you said that can we do like this? So that is the kind of approach at this point that you will make if you are working with the bigger brand. And that's the reason that you also need to work with new brands, because there you will not be talking like this. As I mentioned a few minutes before, that that soft core and hard shell and soft core, you don't have to decide which one is you. You will have to decide a time when you are what. So it changes. So people might call a designer a manipulative brain, but that's how the earth is working, right? So that's how it would be. So to a senior person, you will produce it as a suggestion, and there will be 3 suggestions, let's say you give to that person, and one you are not too sure of, which is great because then he has an upper hand on those. The other 2 you might have an upper hand, and that's why you are suggesting. So you should do it like that probably. And yeah, I think that's how it's going to work. So this brand is not too far away from you guys. It's a Banaras based mithai ki brand, and it's a 55-year-old sweets brand. And the famous Ambani wedding that has happened for a year, they have got all the sweets from Sagar. So definitely they know what to make. Definitely they know their product. Because Nita Ambani is not going to anybody else, but coming, sourced it from these guys after going, seeing how they're making, what they're making, tasting everything. So definitely I am going to learn from these guys when they came. So now the branding project is not here, as in the branding project you guys can see Sagar in the website. But what I have put in here is the recent thing that we have done for them, is their interpretation of Banarasi sari that they wanted to come on their packaging for celebration packs. So the whole idea came from their end. It's not that, we thought that we'll be making the Bagh wala deer and the peacock. The peacock is actually also done as an ambigram way because that's how they can stay, like they can stay upside down also. And then the elephant in the jungle. So this idea I would again give it to the client that they come, because when it came to me, मुझे ऐसा लगा that there are these sweet shops, they have these boxes जिसमें ऊपर में fabric लगा रहता है. They are asking for something like that because that's how you visualize it. कि बनारसी साड़ी का मिठाई का डब्बा कैसे बनेगा. That's the inspiration. But then they took us around to the stories of that the craftsmen are trying to weave for years, and what are the kind of inspiration they have and what are the kind of things that they want to depict through their story. So why don't you explore that, bring it ahead and kind of put it across in our sweet boxes. So this was about the client and how they can make a project look much better than what you would have imagined it. And then comes to the whole idea of doing well. It's very important for us to see that, for whichever client you have worked for, they should be doing good. The business should do good. And for that, you have limited control. You do not have control over the product. If you are doing a branding for a restaurant, you can't go and check what they're cooking, how they're cooking, whether it's tasty, not tasty, whether the helping is good or bad, because in a high-end one the helping needs to be less. So all of that. So that is their job. They will be doing. But your job is to see it in a very different way. And when you try to see it in that different way, it's like, when they say that, your senses are something through which you kind of perceive everything which is physical, right? But your man or the Atma is above that, right? So I kind of draw a parallel, and I keep referring to Gita kind of things because I follow it, I read it, and I kind of draw it in a very different way also earlier what I've showed in the Krishna painting. So for me, these features or these senses that I'm talking about, the 5 senses, are like skills. Are like skills or knowledge or experience or whatever you have, which is with a reason, with the date and everything. But for me, the 6th sense about it, the intuition about the project is very, very important. And I feel that always brings an edge to the product. That always brings a different take to the product. So I'll give you an example. Now the market is getting bombarded with products which can help you digest better, right? or make you feel slim, make you lose weight and stuff like that, right? Suddenly the market is full of Shilajit and this and that, right? And if you see their packaging, either they look like a spa product or they look like a medicinal product. None of them they look fun. And that's the whole idea, that's an idea that stuck to my mind. And from there we started thinking. Now if we do not want to look boring, we do not want to look like a spa product, we do not want to look like a medicinal product, and we want to look like fun, but we do not want to look funny. So there has to be backing for that to look fun. It can't just be there. So then we started talking and discussing about the brand name. So if we go by that philosophy that you need to be fun, so for a gut product, Gutsy sounds like a very good name, very catchy name, very easy to remember also, and it's very different from all the names in the market, whether it's Good Bug or this or that or anything like that, right? So, and the moment the name comes into place, which is called Gutsy, now you can't do anything which is not Gutsy. So that will also reflect in your branding. So after that we came up with the brand tagline which says strong gut feeling. Again it's something again catchy, again strong, and market would be like, really happy. And the best part is that, when you keep those boxes there in 3 colors out in the shelf, they do not look like that you have a problem. That looks like you are happy, this product is happy, you are carrying it because you want to change certain things about yourself, right? It doesn't make you look like something lower that, oh, I will have this and then I'll get better or I'll become better. So that whole feeling of, so in a way, this product starts doing good to you even before you have purchased it. And that has come completely from the gut feeling of going with something which is fun, going with something which is not there in the market. Because often people will say that, I want to be in the racks and people should be able to identify me like that product, right? So that identification code has been broken here and it works. So it has started selling quite well because it's just the 2nd month of it being online present and it's doing good business. There is a government project called Sambandho and it belongs to a village in Odisha. It came to us through one of the government agencies, and I'm sure a lot of people and maybe everyone knows about Ikkat, right? And the whole power of Ikkat is that, it has the feel of craft, it has a feel of art, and if you go very close, you start seeing that, it's done with pixels. It seems like, because that's what it is, it reaches out to be, right? And what was expected out of us was something very intricate sort of design, but it's very difficult to print an intricate form. So we wanted to do something which kind of relatable to the whole idea of the whip and the walk, that grid is getting followed. And since this brand has been, so the government has planned it in a way that they have given a certain amount of sanctioned amount to these ladies who are running the business. So it's women empowerment. So all these people, all the crafts people who are working on this project are all women. There is no man who is working there. So that's the second thing. So one is Ikkat, which kind of forms as a pixel. Second is a woman. And third is all about love. So we also try to, fourth thing is that what happens when a woman becomes stronger. We try to represent it in the form of a goddess with multiple hands, right? And if you see a woman on the loom, it seems like she has multiple hands. It doesn't seem like she's doing it all by 2 hands, right? this, that, this. So it looks like already 6, 6 तो हाथ नहीं, उतना तो लगता है. So that goddess feel is also there. Now we try to incorporate all these 4 points into one. Whether one is the whipped walk, the pixel feel, the second is woman itself, the heart kind of form that it kind of is, and also kind of give you a feel of a goddess. दूर से ऐसे लग सकता है कि दुर्गा है. One thing we did to break the knot, because you see a lot of beauty comes when the thread is missing also, right? So we did something on the top as a out of the grid, something just to create an interest point, and that point itself can then help you imagine the rest of the form very easily. Am I going too fast? I'm fine. I'm generally not too fast, but I could be nervous and maybe going fast. So this project came to us while Corona first phase was over and second phase was maybe going on. It was done with UNESCO in collaboration with PMO. And Modi ji came on the screen and he said कि आपदा को अवसर में बदलिए. And it was funny and it was strong and it was intelligent. We kept thinking about it while this project is there, and they want a documentation of like a huge compiled information that they had, state-wise, medicine-wise, immunity-wise, gender-wise, all of that was there. Now, the problem is not with the layout, the problem is not with putting things in pages, the problem is that what is the visual story that we are going to create. क्योंकि visual story के बिना it is not going to look nice. And if you are making beautiful illustrations, it's not putting across the idea correctly that this is the situation. So I followed that tagline, that converting scarcity into opportunity, and started thinking that what sort of art style should work, and what do we do when we do not have, let's say we do not have the pens and the colors and the sketch pens, we just have some random magazines fall kept somewhere, but we have to create an artwork. So we might start making collages, right? And that idea of collage is something that we took ahead, and we did all of it with a lot of intent, but at the same time a lot of fear in our mind that PMO is going to just throw it off because it looks, maybe they'll say it's too random, it's not giving the feel that maybe we are asking. But we are so happy that they really liked what we did, because it was backed with the right reason. Kyunki I don't know how much you remember about the Corona time, that people were just trying to get something done, right? Everything was in scarcity, like ये नहीं है तो ये कर लो, वो नहीं है तो वो कर लो. And our art style was evolved from that whole idea that okay, we do not have anything, we just need to cut paste things and make a idea across. So each chapter, there are 18 chapters, so we created 18 of these things, and yeah, it came out really well. It's kind of coming to the end of the presentation because we have covered all the parts of, I hope you are doing well. I have put in some questions from my end that these could be the expected questions, and I'm sorry I didn't put anything from the perspective that you guys could also belong to different departments. So whether you are from fashion communication, branding or any other department, whatever questions you have, if you have these questions, do ask me. If you do not have these questions but other questions, please go ahead and ask me. I'll stay here for some time. I'll take a water break and you guys can frame your question.
So, The question is, what are the professional traits that companies look for design students specifically nowadays? And I also have an addition to that, in one of my internships, I was in a company, Relaxo, and as we know of it, that company plays very safe with design, doesn't really do much. So I was advised not to design much and like stay in the budget, but I wanted to make some changes, some creative changes in the design while keeping it comfortable, like the brand suggests. So, do you have any guidance like for me that how may I include creativity while listening, while staying within the guidelines of the company?
Sure. See, obviously you always have a choice. If you intend to be in that company for a longer period and you understand, let's say that what is that the company wants to put across. Now, let's say for example, they do not want to experiment too much with the design because they do not want to print on top, maybe. Are you talking about the prints that happens on top of the slippers, or you are talking about the overall communication?
I was with sub-brand edition packaging, and the designs were very basic, like those designs that were not changed since past 5 years. Only the upper surface technique was changed. So that's the shape that I wanted to change. Maybe I was
But it's the restriction with the machines that they have, that they can just do that sort of cut.
not exactly restrictions, because they were getting their footwear manufactured by third party.
Okay, okay. So if there is no structural restriction or like manufacturing restriction to them, so they ideally should maybe listen to you and give space to your ideas. If you are really passionate towards working for Relaxo, you can also make a presentation which is not being told to you, but you make it and show it to them that this is how it's going to, and make sure that it reaches to someone who can take the decision. And the third option is just change the brand name.
Thank you, sir.
Morning, sir. Sir, I am Global, sir. Sir, my question is practical, sir. Like, I have done my internship 2 months before. So, how do you deal with, sir, the creative burnout and timeline the company provides, sir?
Through work?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, where did you work?
Sir, I was in Fab, yes, sir.
Okay, and how many hours did you work?
Sir, 8 hours.
8 hours is fine.
Yeah.
And what all you did? Like you did the designer job or
Sir, I was a graphic design intern, but side by side I have done photography and VM also.
Okay. So you must have shared your interest towards that side also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you really like photography and VM?
Yeah.
Then I think you should enjoy that, because see, this is the time when you will be working really hard. You will not be working like this all your life.
Yes, sir.
But right now, if you are interested in photography and VM, you should do that with all your heart while you are at this stage. And probably what you are doing as a main thing, which is graphic design,
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow you see that you like VM more because you are interested in that, not because they are asking you to do it. If they are asking you to do it and you are not interested, this answer would be very different. But since you are interested in that, I think it's fine 8 hours if within 8 hours you are doing all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Please guys, there are many questions you can ask, many.
Hello sir, my name is Ananya. I am a product design student. So as we are currently applying for our internships, our GB project, so I have kept one of the projects as my branding project to show the company that I have some visual communication skills as well. So talking about the companies I have applied to, one is automotive industry and the other one is the home appliances industry. So since I have one project of branding, so according to my, it's a hypothetical brand I have taken. So according to my aesthetics, I have kept that in mind. But if we talk about the company language or the way the company works, both are different. So if I'm applying for the same, so do I need to change my projects accordingly the company guidelines or keep it up to myself as my creativity? But for the company, it's quite different perspective since graphics is very subjective.
True, and you have applied to two companies, you have said, right?
Two categories of companies.
So one is automobile, one is utensils, I think you say, home appliances.
Home appliances.
Home appliances with electronics also?
Yes, it's Havells and Philips,
Okay.
example.
So, and you are genuinely interested in graphic design also?
To show that, yes, I have learned graphics and I have not that much command it in, but since we are a product design student, so as an intern, they don't just take the design skill in most of the companies, as they say. So, as a CMF designer nowadays, the requirement is towards packaging and branding as well, along with the design side. So that's why I'm showing my visual communication skills to keep it as a multidisciplinary designer.
Okay, that's a good valid point, I think. And see, making one kind of hypothetical project, I feel, is a little unfair for the other brand. Seems like you are not interested in the automobile must. Is that the case?
No, sir. A branding project I kept as a hypothetical luxury perfume brand.
Okay. So that's a third.
That's a third thing which I did in one of my assignments.
So that's great, I think. So if it doesn't belong to any of them, it is not going to fetch you unnecessary or necessary attention from either of the brands.
So does the company judge on this basis? Like since it's my perfume branding, but now I'm applying in an electronics company. So do they only see the aesthetics or they see that how like what product